to get ready to do Facebook Live. Uh, Roy's doing a solo in studio, as I'm still eating my blueberries, as you can hear. We have Eddie George with us, though, online. He'll be doing that, so you can say a few words or something while maybe preview him a little bit on YouTube of what's going on while I fire up the Facebook Live on IE Newswire. So let's see here.
Well, while Roy's over here doing the technical issues, he kind of got short-handed today. Everybody left him abandoned ship. So he's wearing several hats today. He's the technician, the broadcaster, and the host. So
you've never done that before, have you, Eddie?
I do it every day. I wear 3 or 4 hats at the same time. I'm the videographer, the editor, the broadcaster, the technician, the host, the co-host, and sometimes I'm even the guest on my own show.
Yes, you learn how to talk to yourself.
Exactly.
Some people, though, would call that a mental disease.
Right? Exactly. Hey, I'm good as long as I don't start answering myself. We're in good shape.
There you go. So go ahead and tell them what you got in store for them on coming up on with your latest stuff on Hemet News.
Oh, well, the latest news that we've got we covered this week that has been a very big controversial video that actually went out to our public is, we had a carjacking that happened in our town, and I got on the scene, but I got there a little bit too late to catch the actual action going down. The guy getting tased, smashed out of the truck and everything. And luckily, one of our community members that follow us on the Hemet News official page on our Facebook group under HemetNews.com actually was able to get a video. He was standing right there. But the video that he got, of course, only shows the community partial of what actually happened. So, anytime, you see the police, kicking somebody's butt, and boots to ribs is going down, and they just see partial of it, judgment is always thrown out, all police brutality. So we're going to actually talk about that and actually, was it really police brutality or was it the guy victim of his own stupidity instead of victim of police brutality, And we'll actually give the full story behind the video once Roy gets everything going over here, and we'll actually play it. We're going to play it in silent mode. That way you can hear what's going on because a lot of F words was being used by bystanders in the video.
Yes.
So we're not going to put that over the radio. So you got to keep it clean,
Yes, we do. We got to keep it on. So we're going to hit this, and I'll see if I can make all this stuff work. I'm going to hit this one.
You can do it, Roy. I got faith in you.
You got faith in me. You got more faith than I got it.
Right? I'm actually on your IE Newswire page right now, just waiting for it to pop up with the light.
We're rocking and rolling on a Thursday on the whole enchilada here coming in on the show today. Lots of stuff. Boy, we busted the story, and a lot of people did, but we had some inside information on the quarantine going on of the Wuhan, China flight that came into March Air Force Base, why it was diverted. Again, on some of this stuff is, why can't they just tell us what the heck's going on? It would save us a lot, I believe, on angst coming on. Me and Eddie, and we've got Eddie George on the line from Hemet News, and he's going to give us an update on the allegations that there was police brutality going on in Hemet. But he's got the video and, more importantly, the real inside story on that. We're going to have Susan Shelley on coming on after the bottom of the hour. We had a victory, or maybe, let's say, maybe not a victory because we don't know this is not going to be coming back. But AB 50, the onerous bill that really was going to take local control out of how your city councils or county governments could determine the housing density and things like that in that. Well, it didn't make it out of the Senate. Plus, we'll have her preview all her latest columns and stuff going on up and down the line for that. So we're going to do that. On that, so we're going to bring in Eddie George of Hemet News, the crazy guy with the lazy eye. How you doing, Eddie?
Man, I can't complain, Roy. If I did, you just kicked me off the show and wouldn't listen to me. So, hey, I'm doing great. How about you?
Hey, every day's a great day. You're sitting on that top side of the grass.
That's right. Hey, it's only green on the other side because it's a septic tank issue, you know.
That.
How you doing today, Roy?
Yeah, and we're going to get into there in a little bit on the issue of the coronavirus and stuff and that flight coming in. Just a couple updates on that. I talked to there was one person that was attempting to leave or indicating they were leaving, and the county officials issued a quarantine. So I called up the from Riverside Health Office. So I called up on the deal and said, "Hey, what's going on? What you were indicating?" I said, "Why did you only do one?" Well, they were indicating they were going to leave. Well, why didn't you quarantine everybody? For the incubation period if this guy's trying to leave. Well, the answer I got back was they're on federal property, and we can't do nothing until they leave. And I says, well, they didn't leave. They indicated they were going to leave. Well, I got the answer back from the press office that, there were other circumstances involved in that too. I said, well, can you issued a quarantine for one person that was indicating or something they were leaving, but they didn't actually leave. So what's a procedure? And again, I'm not, I sensed a little contention with the press officer, and I wasn't. I was trying to get the information or what's going on because people are asking questions. It's running all over the place of that. What do you think of this whole deal of them flying the plane, diverting it from Ontario to March, and the whole, not so much that there isn't or is anything nefarious going on, but kind of the whole, we're not going to tell you what's going on.
Well, Roy, my opinion on this, on this corona deal virus is, I would rather see them detour them to the Air Force Base now with an actual public airport, like Ontario. You got a lot of, other travelers in there that wouldn't be there versus, to the Ontario or March Air Force Base. And of course, they got better, military being able to handle, the quarantine a lot better, so, it's a really, honestly, it's a big mess out there, and it's just like people are, sending us these letters that are coming in. Somebody actually posted this on our HemetINews.com page about the a possible coronavirus outbreak has been confirmed in your surrounding cities. This was put out on January 29th. And everybody's already in a panic about this. And I want to confirm to everybody in your viewer listening area and also here on Hemet News that we actually just put an alert on this, that they got a nice little letterhead put out, World Health Organization, Public Health, CDC, and all that, and the County of Los Angeles, California logo on this letterhead, stating this. And I want to let everybody know that this letter that is going out that everybody's sharing all over the social media, this is a fake letter. It's not true, folks. So please, let's not spread this awareness that is not true, in this letter and, put the communities in a more of a panic uproar,
And that has been my whole point. From the time we found out that, okay, they're diverting the flight from Ontario, which is one of our two repatriation airports in California, Oakland and Ontario. Okay, it's coming to March. Okay, State Department diverts it. Okay, come out with a press release or a conference or something stating, yes, the reason why we're diverting this is because, yes, Ontario is equipped to do that, but we have better facilities over at March, and we thought it was being not. Well, no, we're not going to say anything, just like skirted under the ground, because that's what the whole thing started. As I did it Tuesday night, was they started with, okay, that came out, that popped on that. Then people start saying, oh, people are complaining about why they bring him into Ontario, then it moves. Then the conspiracy theories starting, and we've talked about it before, like with the police departments and some of our others. Just get us the information out or tell us why what you're doing, and then we can spread the accurate information. But when we're giving this stuff of no, we're not hearing, or you're not this or that, or we can't do this or what, say, okay, put them under federal quarantine. They're going to be there for 14 days. You can always lift it off if there's no problem. But, they're not under quarantine, but if they leave, we're going to do something. And then, voila, today it appears somebody attempted to leave, and now we got a more situation. And the story that's how I think these stories just evolve. And it has a connotation what we're going to come up talking about, I think, in Hemet in a minute. But what's your last take on that?
They should. I agree with you, especially this being a military. They should have PIOs that should be able to give, the correct information out to the public, for us to give to the public. Because right now, if they stay in hush-hush with this, what's the first thing that's going to happen, Roy? We're going to have guesstimation reports, people guessing, hearsay this, hearsay that. And then we got a nightmare on our hands. I agree with you. Even the military base, they should have somebody that's designated to give us media the proper information to put out to the public. So that would stop this, community panic and everything on hearsays. Because, like they always say, it's got to be true if it's on the internet. Well, no, you believe half of what you see on the internet. It's ridiculous.
If that. I've got the press release for those of you watching on audio. It's a public health officer issues quarantine order. Riverside County Health Officials have issued a quarantine order for one of the passengers from Wuhan, China flight who attempted to leave March Air Force Base. Riverside County Health Officer Dr. Cameron Kaiser issued the order requiring the person to stay for the entire incubation period or until otherwise cleared. The action was taken as a result of unknown risk to the public should anyone leave March Air Force Base early without undergoing a full health education. So I asked him, I said, well, why isn't everybody under a 14-day quarantine or whatever until you figure this out? And I mean, they're not giving you any, well, why is this guy just because he attempted to leave that? Well, what if you have 34 others? It's costing you and me in time to go to get a court order or do this or issue this when one order could be made, okay, you guys are here for 14 days or until we rescind this or figure this stuff out. End of story. We know that, and this is what I think the problem is in this whole deal.
Just don't drink Corona beer and you'll be all right.
You had to start that. We're going to wind up because I know you want to talk about this, and this is why this was probably the big story out on Hemet. Going on across the board, and I'm playing the video. Like I said, I have it on mute because there are the F words and stuff in that. But there's allegations were going on at Hemet because of a video come out. You're seeing the officers, striking and physically detaining a suspect in a crime. So fill us in on what you know, Eddie George.
All right. Well, it happened sometime this week. I can't remember what exactly date it was, so don't, put me down as correct and be wrong. But the video actually aired on our social media news group on Hemet I News about these police officers. This truck was sitting at the intersection of San Jacinto and Menlo. And all of the public in the area that was driving through, all they seen was a bunch of police officers, kicking the hell and beating the hell out of this, poor guy that was snatched out of a truck. And if you ever notice, Roy, a lot of people, they pass their judgment and easily to throw out police brutality, excessive force, but only they're seeing is just part of the clip. Did they see what actually happened prior to this video being taken? What actually escalated Hemet police officers to do what they did with this guy? And that's what I try to stress to a lot of people, that they're so quick to pass judgment and throw out, police brutality. That was just excessive force. That was just so wrong. Those officers should be fired. Well, you know what? The way I look at it, I think those officers need to have a pay raise, and an award because they took a major criminal off the street. Now, what happened in this story to actually show the people why the police did what they did. A guy was at the car wash. I can't remember what address the car wash is at, but he was washing his truck, as you see in the video, a nice pickup truck. And I don't know if this guy was high on crack or high on stupidity or what, but as you see in the video right here, well, it's already shot through a little bit. I think we missed part of it over there with the actual beating going on. But the guy jumped in this guy's truck while he was, there we go, there you see it there in the video now. The guy jumped in this victim's truck and just took off on it and stole the guy's truck, and the guy tried to chase the guy down, and he peeled out and left on Florida and went down and hit San Jacinto Avenue. And this is a known felon. This is not his first rodeo of getting, police brutality or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But he's very well known in the police logs, if you know what I mean. Well, the guy was actually, if you see in the video, he was actually stuck in the traffic, and he couldn't go nowhere. And luckily, the police was able to spot the vehicle. They jumped in. 1111, all officers needed calls came in because the guy, when they snatched him out of the vehicle, he would not correspond with their commands. He started fighting the police officers. There was even an assault on an officer. So when you assault a police officer while they're trying to, arrest you, and you're still in a truck, it's not going to be, can you please put your hands behind your back, please, sir? And if you don't, well, then, we won't do nothing. It's not going to be like that, folks. You're going down, and if you're going to go down with a fight, so are they. They're going to fight you. And when you don't want to take orders from a police officer, especially when you're a known felon, you stole a truck, you got a weapon, and you're fighting the police, what's going to happen? Folks, what you see here, this guy was not a victim of police brutality, but he was a victim of his own stupidity. Number one, if you're going to be stupid to go steal a truck and have a weapon while you're stealing the truck, police stop you. They try to tell you to get out of the vehicle with your hands up, and instead, they have to snatch a knot out of your rear to get you out of the vehicle. And then, as they're trying to get you, detained, you're still fighting the police. You're assaulting the police. And what do you think's going to happen? Do you think they're just going to pat you on the shoulder and say, well, we'll get you later? No, they're going to put booster ribs or whatever they got to do in their line of work to be able to get you into custody. And I watched this video several times. People say, oh, well, the police was punching him. Well, actually, those punches that those officers was given is a standard protocol punch that they give to get you under, detainment. It's not like they were knocking you in the head with a baseball bat. They were doing, the hits, then your legs, your back, to get you to put your hands behind your back. And in the video, you can notice they were fighting a guy, put your hands behind your back, several times, and the guy kept not complying. So I just want to stress to the people that want to bash these police saying, oh, yeah, police brutality, folks. Look, like I say in all my videos, you're not a victim of police brutality. You're a victim of your own stupidity. Follow the law. You won't get, hey, all I can say is you're going to do your crime, you're going to get your time one way or another.
Exactly. Like you said, cops are doing this. They're probably running the plates, coming back, and if, they're even, if the registered, of that, they're even indicating of that. They know they're in a when somebody's running from the cops like that, they already know. In most cases, people that are running from the cops have priors on them.
Exactly.
So
another thing. I want to stop you right now before I forget this. I want to add this in here, too. A lot of comments is placed on this video on our news page on HemetINews.com saying that, well, all of this could have been stopped if they would have just tased him. Well, let me stop you there, people. The police did tase the guy, and the taser did not affect him at all. So the guy was on something, for that taser not to even phase you. So don't even give me that malarkey saying, oh, just tase him. They did. So, hey, if I tase you as a police officer and you don't go down and you're still fighting me, you're going to get boots to ribs, believe me. And they're lucky they didn't shoot the guy. He did have a weapon, So, hey, I think the police did an awesome job on this. So, people want to be stupid with their comments and all that and say, well, I'm protecting the police. No, I'm not protecting the police. I'm just telling you reality, and that's just reality.
Yeah, that's the reality of the situation. You're exactly right. This is not 1950 where, at best maybe somebody would be drunk or something like this. They have so many nice chemicals that are running out there that people just become almost superhuman in strength of some of this stuff. And yeah, hitting, you can hit them with a taser or something like that, and like they're like, what the heck was that?
Well, Roy, I was on one scene over there off of Elk Street one time, and this guy was breaking into somebody's apartment with a shovel, and they were upstairs. He went upstairs, hopped the banister over their balcony, and was trying to break in. So when the police got there, there's like 5 units got there, and they started running up the stairs after this guy, and he started throwing furniture over the balcony at the officers. And you can actually see in my video on YouTube, of the furniture hitting the officers, and they're still trying to go up. They throw the canine over the banister, and the guy starts beating the canine with the shovel, and the canine jumps out. I'm like, oh, hell no, this guy's crazy. Yeah. I'm getting out of here. So they throw the dog back in over the banister, and the dog jumps out 3 times like, oh, I don't want no part of this guy.
Yeah.
And then the police actually tased the guy about 4 or 5 times and still didn't faze him. So it just shows you there are some strong drugs out here, that these people are on. And whatever it is, I know one thing, I don't want no part of it,
Right. And they see some, immediately, now I would imagine this is what's going through a cop's mind. We hit this guy with a taser, and he's doing nothing. Or, it's not phasing him. They're thinking, oh, crap, this guy's going to be coming after us. We got to use whatever force or whatever tools we have to detain him. Now, folks, you want people, if the taser doesn't work, the first thing you're doing is pulling out their 9mm and shooting the guy. I mean,
right.
You have, when you're in that situation as a police officer on that scene, you have split seconds because you don't know what this guy's got. You don't know
exactly. Their life is on the line just as much as anybody else. And I'm sorry. I know these officers I'm planning on coming home tonight to my family.
Correct. Yeah. They're exactly. I mean, they are obviously concerned about public safety and keeping us safe. But yeah, they're obviously concerned about them. So like the dog saying, hey, even the dog was smart enough in that situation to say, no way. I mean, this guy is, I can bite the crap out of him like whatever. He ain't doing nothing. I'm done. So you imagine what, these are the kind of things that are what we're dealing with in 2020. Like I say, in 1950 or 60, this was not even, not even considered. I mean, people that just have, you would hit them with the billy club, and bam, they'd be hitting the ground. Well,
not this guy. He just kept on and on and on. If the taser didn't phase him, and the billy club didn't phase him, finally they got him under control. If you see in the video, Roy, that one of the officers, he pulled up, he jumped out of his car, and he come in with a full running sprint and boom, hit that guy, knocked him down. They're like, damn, he football, tackled this guy, and then all of a sudden, all the other officers, they pulled up and they all jumped on this guy, and it was like a full team tackle, and they finally got the guy. He had no choice with all these officers stacked up on him. He couldn't go nowhere, and they finally got him in detainment,
Yeah, it is that, and I think there was 4 officers there it took to detain this guy or get him under control of one shot. That's how that. I would be very, 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 very surprised if once the report comes out on this guy wasn't on some really high performance stuff when they did when they encountered.
Oh, he had to be, Roy. He had to. Because it just, I'm sorry. It's just, I guess some of these people we have in Hemet just really amazes me sometimes. sometimes I think I should put these videos on the Hemet Valley Rag Mag instead on Hemet News, you know?
But it isn't, and it kind of, and that's why I brought up the the coronavirus story, which is really active, hot news also in that in the Inland Empire of the way of this same thing is people see one part of it and they do it, and not in this case, but like we've talked about before in some of these things, and I think some of our law enforcement officers and some of our government agencies are finally seeing this. It's best to get the truth and the accurate information out there quickly to diffuse this kind
Exactly.
of stuff. Because
And that's what I told the police department. I contacted Captain Brock with him at police, and I told him, about this video that just surfaced on our Facebook page. And he said, yeah, I was looking at the video, I was watching it. And he explained to me, people were like, oh, well, they beat him till his blood was all over his face and all that. And Captain Brock was like, well, when we took the mug shots of him, there wasn't no blood. I'm like, well, they probably ended up wiping it out. I said, because the guy did have blood on his face. If you've seen the video, well, evidently he didn't see the right video. There was two of them that surfaced, and it's police has got to do what they got to do to get these people down. And
yes,
I don't feel sorry for the guy at all. You go out, you steal somebody's, truck.
Yeah.
And you're running from the police, you're fighting the police. If you're going to play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes. And he got a stupid prize.
Yes.
That's one reason why, Ricardo and I, Ricardo with IE 5-Star Detail, I want to give him a shout out if you ever need your truck washed or anything. He does a great job. Him and I are actually shooting a video out here, a series, and it's called HPD Live in the Streets. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be rolling, close up with HPD, and we're going to be filming their life out in the streets and show people what our officers actually have to deal with out here on the dirty bases. Yeah, let me say dirty bases, because, we do have a lot of dirt in this town that they have to deal with. And a lot of people, they only see bits and clips of everything, what these officers do. So we're actually going to be following Hemet Police, also Riverside County Sheriff's Department, and also California Highway Patrol. I've been working with CHP, and they want us to do a video on them, too. So, before people pass judgment on the police, hey, sometimes like my motto is, when you have to deal with dirt, sometimes you get dirt on you, and you get dirty. So, my hats are off to these people, what they do. You couldn't pay me enough to deal with what these officers deal with. People want to say, F the police, F that. Well, you know what, Roy, if you notice, 9 times out of 10, those people that say that is the ones they're running from the cops. And I tell them all the time, if you next time you need help, somebody steals your stuff or whatever, breaks in your house, and you need to call 911, don't call 911. Call whatever crack hole you got, in town. They'll help you out.
Call your local supplier or whatever to come on down and give you a hand or whatever whatever you're doing on that. Thanks for the update on this and that. Tell everybody where they can find you on all over the web, because Eddie, Lori, and all the crew over there at Hemet News are absolutely top notch in my book. So, got 30 seconds. Wrap it up.
All right, folks. Well, you can find me anywhere. Just Google the crazy guy with the lazy eye. Google the crazy guy with a lazy eye. Hemet, EYE News, HemetINews.com. We're also on Facebook, Hemet News official page, and we're also on YouTube under Hemet News. So, hey, Roy, I appreciate you having me on the show again this week, and they do call me that crazy guy with the lazy eye with HemetINews.com, and I am out of my chair, and I am off your air.
And we'll do it again next week. Thanks a lot, Eddie.
You bet you will.
You got it. There's Eddie George, Hemet News, giving us a straight scoop on that. We always appreciate his analysis on all of this stuff that's going on each and every day as we look for that. Yes, I should hang up my phone on that. Let's see if I can. There we go. Learning how to push the right buttons on all this stuff. On that, we're gonna see if we can. Do some of more of this high tech technical stuff that's going on that stuff. So I'm going to hit. Maybe I should. Maybe I'll do this. See if I can get my phone system working again. of that as I try and run everything on and off the beaten path of that on that. Okay, we'll see that. 1-8 as I'm dialing things all over. See if that works. Ah, nothing coming in. It's nice when everything is working correctly on all this stuff, but let's see. We're going to roll in. Let's see if I can dial this up as we're doing some of the technical stuff on this. No, it was very interesting what we're doing on each and every day on that as we're going to try and hook up with, as you hear the deal, we're trying to hook up with 1490 KMET on that up and down the line, and we'll see if we can get this guy working. As I'm waiting for things to roll as we do that. No, as Eddie said, I mean, they're out in Hemet doing that. You post a video, everybody goes crazy on all that stuff. Well, let me see if I answer this one. Here we go. Maybe that's the one I need to do. Of that, are we? See if I'm getting Sean on the air.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right, good.
It's kind of confusing because it hit me on the wrong. I answered you on the wrong computer or so we may have to hang up and do this again.
All right, well, let's do it quick.
You got it. As we're doing that, we're seeing if we can. I think we got it now. Do I got you on the right one, Sean?
All right.
Ah, man. See, as Roy tries to figure this stuff as he's trying to do everything without, can you hear me now?
Testing.
Ah, gotcha. Are you? I just want to make sure you're hearing me. I'm hearing you fine.
Yeah.
So we're going to be able to go on. How long we got to go before we get to kick this puppy off?
We have got about 35 seconds.
35 seconds before we're joining all our guys on that. I'm going to see if I can get the jingle panel up and actually do this right on that. Transitioning in on that, and hopefully I'll be able to get Susan Shelley on the line on that after we get all this stuff hooked up and we get hooked up on KMET and broadcasting live, unfortunately.
In about 20 seconds.
20 seconds. So you're going to have to listen to me talk on that for a while. No, it's great to have Eddie George and all his gang on there today for the show because he brings us a lot of great
Okay, here we
insights
go.
on that.
10 seconds.
LetGrandpaSpeak.com.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station.
I got no opening music, so just come right in, okay?
Okay.
Its management, employees, or affiliates.
I think I got it on that as we're playing the great riff that we did that. I don't know if I got it right, but we're playing that great slide guitar riff that we start the show out as we start our broadcast each and every day on a Thursday on the Mighty Mat 1490 AM, broadcasting out of Banning. As you can see, those of you looking on the video, Roy's running the engineering, the sound, the everything else on that. So if you see a little bumps in the road on the things of that, that's probably my fault on the whole deal because you're totally dependent on Roy for whatever happens today. So try running all this computer stuff and clicking on the stuff and switching the cameras and stuff on that. Like I say, when I do it myself, it's very challenging. I'm going to try and do this live on the air and see if we can get Susan Shelley up on the line and see if my phone system will work on the deal because it's being mad at me again. So we'll see if I can dial her up on the 818. I can't talk and chew gum at the same time, so I can't hear and dial on that. So we're gonna try and see if we can get Susan Shelley up to update us on all her great columns coming up. We'll see if the phone answers on the deal, or you're gonna have to listen to a half hour of me babbling on about who knows what of coming up on the line. So see, my phone is not. Let me try this again. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it this way. See if this works. 1-8. See if this works on the old. No, we have. Hopefully, we'll get Susan Shelley because there's a couple of big things. One of the big things that's coming up is SB 50 seemed to went down to defeat on the whole enchilada. I don't know why this thing is not dialing out of the or why we're not connecting on this. So we'll try it. We'll try here in a little bit on that as we're doing that. Yeah, when we did talk a little bit about that on the deal, SB 50 is the part of it coming on the line that in the state of California, they're going to take your local control away from your cities, counties, or what to determine how or what type of housing you want. If the state of California is going to say, well, if a developer wants to build a 5-story unit right next to your house, you know what? We're going to allow that. And there's nothing that your city council or anything can do about that. So that actually did not get out of the Senate today or the other day, which was kind of surprising in a way because everybody thought that this was going to go through like clockwork on doing that. So that was another kind of surprising development that came on the line like that, and we actually did get a slight reprieve. I don't know if we got a victory on that whole deal, but who knows? Maybe things are slightly turning in California. That would be an absolute deal because we've gone so far off the deep end on this stuff that it's absolutely out of control out here. Just like this whole virus thing that's going on, and the whole Chinese flight coming in, and the cop brutality, and the whole thing that's going on. It's it's like ridiculous. I mean, I don't understand why our public officials in this whole coronavirus thing are being so secretive. It's very easy. Just tell us the truth. Tell us what's going on, and voila, everything will be okay. Don't try and run this stuff on us that we're diverting the flight, or we can't quarantine anybody, or we're not quarantining anybody. But when somebody tries to leave, then we're just going to quarantine one person for 14 days. But what happens to the rest of them? Put people's minds at ease. Say, yeah, we're going to do the quarantine, 14 days, the 200 people were here. If we determine that time and we run all the tests and they're fine, that's it. But end of story. We don't have to have these daily press reports coming out. On top of that, each and every day coming up, making things ridiculous. It's I don't know why we have to go through this. It's incredulous of what they're doing to us each and every day. Because it would be nice to have just, okay, this is where it is. Here we go. We're protecting you. This is the reason we moved it from Ontario to March. You got, March has bio this or tech that or able to deal with it. Not, well, we just moved it from the flight it was supposed to be going to where we originally had it, where we said or we had set up to handle these sort of things. And here you go. Voila, nothing. It's absolutely incredulous of what's going on top of the whole enchilada on here. But we work each and every day on this stuff, And it seems like it never gets better. And I'm going to try and do something here with the phones, but I'll keep talking as we're going. We come up each and every day on this stuff, and nothing seems to get better. It seems like. I mean, we get a couple of victories like this with the defeat of SB or SB 50 or AB 50 on that on the housing density, or not necessarily defeated, just didn't get out of the committees. Here we go. It's like a reprieve of going on once. And but you're just waiting for the next shoe to drop on this. And I don't know. It drives me absolutely crazy. I think we might be able to get Susan Shelley on the line here. Hopefully she answers the phone. I finally got it working to where she's doing that. Yeah, Susan, you ready to go on? Okay, let me see if I can make this work because I'm doing a solo here today. Hang on a sec. Do that. And voila, are you on the line, Susan Shelley?
I'm on the line. Great to be with you.
Wow, most people don't say that. That Roy's doing a solo here where I'm engineering the board, hosting the show, doing that. So I had a little problem with the phone. I had to go there and actually reset the phone on the deal. That's why I'm a little late on the deal. But I was explaining, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I saw a report come, I think from you or a posting of something, that SB 50 did not get out of the Senate.
It went down to defeat yesterday and again today.
Wow.
Well, that's it. That is it for SB 50. However, they can still take all the language from SB 50 and make an amendment and do a gut and amend and try again at the end of the session. So we're never going to be out of the woods completely, but it's a big, big story that this went down to defeat.
And that's kind of what I was outlining. I said, it went down to defeat, but I don't call it a victory. I just kind of call it a reprieve because exactly what you're talking about. As in most of the stuff, I think it's probably going to come back in some sort of way or they'll retool it or figure out how they can get enough support to do it. But I'm hoping maybe some of these things, and like AB5, the whole independent contractor thing is, maybe, and it did. It started, and I think you put out in the post you did, it started, and a lot of the representatives from L.A. County were backing up on this or questioning it, or really what allowed this reprieve to go. So maybe we're turning the tide.
I hope so, and I hope that by covering this while it's going on instead of after it happens, we're empowering the voters to pick up the phone and call and make a difference. I think that really happened in Southern California because so many suburbanites, homeowners just in general, were just horrified at the idea that Sacramento was passing a law that would allow an apartment building to go up next to their house, on any single family lot in California. You could build a fourplex anywhere in the state. And you could build, if you were within half a mile of a bus stop, you could build a 5 or 6 story apartment building with no parking spaces on a single family lot next to your house. I mean, this is the kind of thing that takes someone else's life, someone else's property, someone else's peace of mind, the welfare of their family, their daily life, throws it up in the air for what? Because these environmentalist wackos think that building housing in outlying areas will make the oceans catch on fire because of climate change, which is just ridiculously exaggerated and nonsense. It's so over the top to suggest that anything we do in California affects the climate at all. I mean, it doesn't. We're only 1% of all global greenhouse gas emissions in this state. So the idea that we can't approve housing in an outlying area to solve our housing crisis because it's bad for the climate is just insane. But that's what's going on. That was what was behind SB 50. The idea that the only housing you can build is apartments next to train tracks.
And it kind of dovetails into one of your editorials on Southern California News Group, Press Enterprise, Redlands Daily Facts, San Bernardino Sun, Inland Daily Bulletin and 1,000 newspapers all across Southern California. California's moved to centrally plan away ride-share services. This is just more of the totalitarian government that we seem to be getting in California.
It sure is. You know, some people thought that rideshare services were a solution to a problem, but not in California. If you like it, you can't have it. That's our policy. So
Yes.
what they're trying to do, in addition to messing with the employee independent contractor status of all the drivers and saying that no one can be an independent contractor, Uber and Lyft have to hire everyone and then control their schedules, and that's the only way that it's legal to do this kind of company in California. In addition to that, that's bad enough. Now CARB is involved, the California Air Resources.
Oh, gosh.
And they are trying to determine how to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions of the transportation network company industry, which is Uber, Lyft, DoorDash. Essentially, anybody who turns on an app and drives is now going to be measured by CARB. And what they're already doing is they are getting trip-level data from these companies. What kind of car is it? Where is it going? How many people are in it? How fast? How slow? How long? What direction? And CARB is collecting all this data, and they're trying to measure the greenhouse gas emissions, and then they're going to put in regulations to reduce them. Really? This is crazy. They're looking at things like, is there equity in this? Are there enough drivers in each area? Or are there some underserved areas, some overserved areas? What is it their business? I don't understand this thinking. And once again, this is for the sake of saving the climate, which is idiotic.
Please tell me that Mary Nichols is not running CARB.
Oh, yeah, she's running it. This is her baby.
I ask you not to tell me that because my head is going to explode. How that woman still has that position is beyond me. The fraud that all the stuff that they've come up with to give us, to sell us this stuff in my book, is beyond criminal.
Oh, it's awful. And it's suffocating the rideshare industry, which is one of the best things that's happened for consumers. It's one of the best things that's happened for people who want to make extra money while they're doing whatever it is they want to do. It's one of the best innovations in all of human history. The idea that someone who needs a ride can pay someone with a car, you can both use your phone, and you don't need any kind of infrastructure. You don't need the government. Nobody has to build rail. Nobody has to do anything. And it's so convenient. I mean, we're probably both old enough to remember when people used to do jokes in California about how you can't get a cab. And you can't get a ride to the airport, and how you ruin your friendships asking your friends to take you to the airport.
Right.
I mean, this used to be standard comedy monologue stuff. And then Uber and Lyft. And then there was no problem at all. There used to be hitchhiking movies, you know, where hitchhikers would be out on the road and somebody would be brutally murdered, the driver, the
Right.
hitchhiker. It'd be the start of some hacksaw kind of movie where people have this horrible experience out on the road. Well, people don't talk about hitchhiking anymore. You've got your phone, you've got Uber,
Yes.
you've got Lyft. It's perfectly convenient. So what do you think they're worried about at CARB? Well, Uber and Lyft may be reducing the use of scooters and other forms of active transportation such as walking. Well, yes, Uber is going to reduce walking. And what is it the government's business? If Uber reduces walking, why isn't that between you and your feet and Uber?
Well, yeah, and that brings up the whole AB5, the basically eliminating the independent contractor, or really the basically all you people that are all you nice guys and gals that have been able to afford new cars and make some money driving people around and providing a service very cost efficiently so you don't have to walk or bother your friends or do whatever. We want to that is making your life too convenient, Californians. We cannot have that.
We cannot have that because the government is not in control of it. So we must have the government in control, and the mechanism for control is complaining about the climate, and that justifies everything they want to do. Because if you're running an engine, CARB wants to regulate you. It's just so retro, really. I mean, we're so stuck in the 1970s here. We're going to carpool. We're going to make carpool lanes, and we're going to have carpool mandates, and we're going to have carpool incentives, and carpool stickers, and carpool tickets, and we're going to have all this kind of stuff to enforce our carpool regime. Well, guess what? People can carpool if they can carpool, and if they can't carpool, they can't carpool. So all the incentives and the lanes and the rest of it doesn't make any difference. It's so 1970s. They are stuck in this mindset that you have to pour concrete and make rail, and you can't have transportation unless you have 3 years of planning and a tax increase.
It is. I mean, the stuff of it is, and then to dovetail into your other column, to further reinforce in this, Governor Gavin Newsom busy dreaming up new bureaucracies. Like we don't have enough government control in California as it is.
I thought this was a pretty funny story when I read it. He's creating brand new government departments in his record-breaking budget. We don't have a big enough government in California.
Right.
So he's creating new agencies, and one of them is the Department of Healthcare Affordability. Oh, that'll fix it. We'll have a department in charge of healthcare affordability. Now, what's it going to do? It's going to try to harass insurance companies and hospitals, and then there's going to be reports and compliance requirements, and everybody's going to be in violation, and they'll collect fines, and it's going to be just a living hell, and then, of course, the whole cost of it will be passed on your bill. Because somebody's going to pay for all that cost. Somebody's going to pay for all those lawyers, and it's going to be the patients. So frustrating. And then he's got a Department of Better Jobs and Higher Wages. You know what? If California wants better jobs and higher wages, they should stop harassing businesses. Businesses are leaving the state. We're hemorrhaging businesses over the border of this state. And he's got a Department of Better Jobs and Higher Wages. So somebody's going to get a job. The director will get a job. The associate director will get a job. The legal counsel will get a job. The publicist will get a job. We'll have a whole bunch of bureaucrats hired for all these new departments. And meanwhile, the businesses will all be leaving.
Yes, that's the whole enchilada behind all this stuff. It's absolutely incredulous of what happens in this situation going up and down the line because, I mean, it just makes you want to go. I mean, to me, like I said, I think I'm going to have to wrap my head in duct tape so it doesn't explode.
Well, try to breathe deep. We have to get through this.
Yes,
we have to get through this.
We
have to bring all the sensible people in California along with us. We have to not leave the state. It's very important. We have to save California. This is our project.
Yes, and I do think that, and I think we need to, like on all this stuff, and I mean, I think it is, the AB5 is cutting across a lot of different lines on this stuff, and it seems to be this AB50 thing about, well, hey, what is it that the state can dictate? What kind of developments are going to be built in my town or my area? Well, what's next? Maybe the light bulb is starting to go off in some people's brains that have not been necessarily paying attention to this stuff or wondering. Because I keep telling them, a lot of them, when it hits the fan or they do that, they ask, well, how did this happen? Well, it's because maybe. You should have been paying attention a little bit before all this stuff got out of control and really studying what these guys are saying when they're running, guys and gals, who's what they're saying when they're running for office, than just taking marching orders or just pulling a D lever or whatever.
Well, one of the things that was really overlooked in all of this stuff with SB 50, I mean, not by the public, but by the lawmakers, is the infrastructure aspect of what happens when you increase the density of these urban areas. So let's say you take a single-family neighborhood and you start putting 4- and 5-story apartment buildings on single-family lots. Well, now you need more schools, more water, more electricity. What about the sewer pipes? What about the road capacity? What about the parking? What about the fire protection? You need more of all of that. And they didn't even talk about it. They didn't even talk about what the effect would be on taking an existing neighborhood and quintupling the density of it. That's just irresponsible.
Again, your problem here is you're trying to introduce logic into the conversation, and that's exactly what's going on. And that the conversations that I've been or heard of and been on, and this is a plan. Well, it's gotten so out of control on, and we talk about it in some cases $100,000 or more per unit per single family home or apartment just to get a building permit. That didn't pour a yard of concrete, buy a 2x4 roof or anything else. So, and it's because of this and because of the whole thing in California and the regulations and the cost of everything are driving it up. So the developers thinking, we can't pay for this anymore and build the housing. We got a housing crisis. So what did they cook up? Well, we just won't build any more infrastructure. We'll just go up, increase the density on what we had. But like you're saying, they didn't think of, well, we only got a 6-inch sewer pipe going through there. And if we triple the density in this area, that blank is not going to flow down that pipe, and then you got real problems.
Exactly, and you put up a 5 or 6 story apartment building on a single family lot, and that is an extremely intense increase in density without any attention to the infrastructure at all. So what's the next thing that happens? The next thing that happens is you have a crisis, and you have to have a tax increase to do the infrastructure. Okay, so you have to put that on the ballot. Well, guess what? Only the property owners are going to have to pay for it because it's going to be a parcel tax or it's going to be a bond issue of some sort for the local government. So that's going to go on the property tax bills, and all the people who are in the apartments can vote yes, and only the property owners will pay for it. And that is a very unfair thing to do to people. So in addition to robbing them of the peace and quiet of their neighborhood, where now you've got an apartment building looking down in your backyard, in addition to that, now you're outvoting them on all these financial issues and forcing them to pay for their own destruction. It's terribly unfair. And to impose that from Sacramento because, quote, we need the housing, and not go any deeper than that, is just appalling. And the main thing that just drives me on this is the only reason they're doing this is because they truly believe that you cannot have any more car trips in California without destroying the climate. So therefore, you cannot build housing where there is land to build housing. Everyone has to live on top of each other for the sake of the climate. And they will not compromise on that. They won't say, well, gosh, the problem's 100 years away, so let's not ruin everybody's life today for it. Maybe in 100 years, someone will think of something. They don't even discuss the possibility that they could do that. No, it's a crisis, it's an emergency, it's an emergency, it's a crisis, and we all have to live on top of each other and pay higher taxes. No, I just think it's a wonderful bit of progress. Even if it's temporary progress, it's a wonderful bit of progress that I think the 9 Democratic senators voted no on this and said this is not well thought out, this is not the right approach, and they're not going to let it go forward.
Along with it being mandatory that everybody listening read Susan Shelley's usually 2 columns every week in the paper, got 30 seconds to tell them why they should join Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association.
Because Proposition 13 is under attack, and taxpayers are under attack. And if you join HJTA, go to the website at hjta.org, you will be strengthening the voice of taxpayers in California. And that will make things improve in this state, because we don't have enough representation in Sacramento to block a sidewalk. And the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, by getting people to call and write and send petitions, we are having an impact. We're punching above our weight, and we need your help to be effective in Sacramento. So for only $15 a year, you get my little newspaper that I edit, and you get all the benefits of membership, and you will be helping California.
You got it. Thanks a lot, Susan. We'll do it again next week, and we're coming up to the end of our time on KMET 1490. So as the music's fading out, we'll be back here in 23 hours with Stephanie on a Fun Fast Friday. See ya.
All right. right, all clear, Roy.
That was pretty good for me trying to muddle my way through all this, I hope.
I think you're a one-man band. It sounded good to me.
You got it. Thanks for being on, Susan.
Take care, Roy. Bye.
All right, take it easy, Roy. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
You got it. Brr.